Hey, what's up people? I'm back from my trip and I bought some new knives on the way. I already filmed this video in the car when I was on vacation, but the air conditioner was on, it was way too loud, trucks in the background. Now we have a little bit of a more stable surrounding, so I guess yeah, this is a better way to do it. And plus I can show you other knives that I didn't have with me. So whenever I go to places, I like to check out local knife stores because first you can check out knives that you don't necessarily know if you want to buy them or not, or you just want to, see them. And second, you can sometimes find knives for a really good price. Sometimes you find knives that are, long gone because they're basically no longer in production, but some stores still have them sitting on their shelves and, getting dusty. And yeah, sometimes you get knives for really good prices. So I bought these three knives for the reasons I just mentioned. And yeah, let's just show them to you one by one. So the first one is made by Herberts, the German brand that makes most of their knives, or I guess all their knives, in China. I showed you this knife before in a different video. It's like a giant cleaver kitchen knife that costs like 11 euros. So they have like great or cool, interesting knives for great prices. And this one is a very classic looking, sort of a Buck 110 style folding hunter lock bag. But it's actually, if you look very closely, it's actually the Boker, is it the Scout? I think it's called the Scout. The Boker has their version of a Buck 110 and they call it the Scout. And this is basically a direct copy of this one. It just doesn't cost, the Boker prices. It was really inexpensive. So yeah, I don't know what kind of wood this is in the handle. It seems to have brass bolsters, and then stainless steel liner, stainless steel backlock, and a really nice clip point with a hollow grind. Maybe you can see this or not. It does have a hollow grind. It's 420 stainless steel. Probably not gonna be the best heat treatment for the money I bought this. It was like 20 bucks, I wanna say. And yeah, it's just a solid knife. It's a good centering, lockup is fine, a little bit of wiggle, but not bad. It looks beautiful. It's actually, let's bring in a Buck 110 since we were speaking of the Buck 110 all the time. I think the original Boker Scout version is a little bit smaller. So this one is scaled up, but a direct copy otherwise. So this one is pretty much Buck 110 size, but a lot lighter weight. I would say it's like, I don't know what weight it is. Let's see. Let's bring in the scale. By the way, the Buck 110 in S40V is a super good knife. They have a really good heat treatment on the S40V. I have this Buck 110 for a long time now and I really like it. 173 grams, which the Buck 110 in the light version, not in the light version, they have a plastic version that's lighter, but in the G10 version it's lighter than in the brass version. And in this case it has 214 grams, so quite a bit lighter. Let's do ounces really quick because, America. 6.1 ounces. And this one has 7.6 ounces. Yeah, so this Herberts, inexpensive, good looking, I think. Backlock, classic design. Boker Scout clone basically, but I always wanted to check out that knife anyways. I just didn't want to pay it the money, but yeah, great knife, especially for the money. Yeah, I don't know which what's the name on this because Herberts doesn't have names. Maybe the serial number helps you if you try to find it, but honestly, there are a million knives like this on the market from different manufacturers. So I guess you will find, you know, one very that may even you like it, that you may even like better. I can't even speak anymore. So yeah, so this was the first buy. Let's put this over here. Let's put it in the background. Oh, okay. The second one, you may have seen this one in a previous video. This is the Cold Steel Super Edge, which I have been carrying on my keychain for the last couple weeks, or I don't know how long, maybe even months. Last couple weeks, I would say. Super good knife, Super Edge, tiny little serrated blade to, you know, shred boxes, basically made in Japan. Really like it. If you don't have one, buy one. It's really inexpensive. It will make your life a lot easier. And in the store that I checked out, I found this one, which is basically very similar in terms of, you know, sizing. It's a tiny little keychain knife, but in this case we have like a little push dagger, which it's actually not a push dagger. I will explain to you in a second, but I mean, it's kind of a push dagger-y style, or a last option self-defense tool maybe, but it could also make a, you know, box opener or whatever. The Cold Steel Urban Pal, they have this in like 3 sizes. They have a really tiny one, but that one was a little bit too tiny for me. And then I have this one, and then I have a big one, but the big one has a double ground blade. It's not double edged, but I think it's double ground. And in the country that I live, the laws are that, you know, double ground blades are daggers, and in this case it would be a push dagger, but this is not double ground, so it's not a dagger, so it's not a push dagger. So this one is legal. The larger one is not legal for me to carry. So yeah, same as the Super Edge, it's made in Japan, Seki City, Japan. Beautiful place, by the way. Have been there once, really enjoyed it. I guess they have the new logo up here, so they must still be making it. And this one I paid, I think 17 euros, which I think that's a good price for a Cold Steel. And yeah, I think I do like the Super Edge still better because I don't know, I think it's just a more practical blade to me, and yeah, I don't get into self-defense situations that often, but obviously you could do well with it if you're trained enough. But yeah, I couldn't pass this for the price, and plus I do sort of collect Cold Steels at this point, so yeah. Really like the Urban Pal. Here are the specs, by the way, on the box. I think it's AUS 8. Yeah, it's AUS 8 steel. AUS 8 is still around with Cold Steel. Now the last one is a SOG knife. SOG is a company that made really bad stuff for a long time. Now they're a little bit better. They have now been bought up by GSM, which owns Cold Steel. We will see how that does in the future, but before their really bad time, they had a really, really good time. And this knife, I think, is out of their really good time. And first up, we will check out the box, because the box is hilarious. So on the side of the boxes, they have, like, you know, different applications where this knife can be used, so military, camping. And then on the other side, it's so hilarious. Okay, this is like a construction worker, and then they have like this. It's like, this is so funny. A guy is being arrested on a police car hood. It's just like a GTA cutscene. It's so cringy to put this on a box for, you know, the product you try to sell, but I really like it. This is really, really old school boxing. They're just, you know, put a picture like this on. It's just great. I really like it. Now, this knife needs a little bit more explanation. Also, in my previous videos, you may have been seeing this knife a bit. This is the SOG Spec Arc, which is basically the last knife out of that line from the SOG Spec Elite, which they had like this recurved blade, which is not too wide, but has a nice hollow grind and a thin point. And most of the times, like these Grivex, let's just call them Grivex, you know, these plasticky scales that don't feel too plasticky actually. And the Arc Lock, which is, you know, SOG's version of the Axis lock, which is basically a crossbar lock, which you just pull back on these bars, but you pull them upwards and not directly back. So this is basically very oversimplified the explanation how this lock works. It's just an Axis lock with 2 Omega springs on one on each side. So the Arc Lock was the last knife out of that lineup. Also made in Seiki City, Japan, with VG10 steel, still hollow ground, really good heat treatment, really good action, really good fit and finish. This knife was just overlooked, and since then, SOG has completely stopped with this sort of designing. Now, I still haven't found myself a SOG Spec Elite or the Spec Elite 2, which I think is the bigger version, which is very sad because I really, really like the SOG Spec Elite. I just, I only had some chances to check it out, but never had a chance to buy one. But I have been carrying the SOG Spec Arc for quite a while now. But I did find, the SOG knife that I did find in this shop was this one, which is also out of the era from the SOG Spec Elite. And in this case, it's the SOG Visionary 2. Now, the SOG Visionary is, SOG Visionary 1, I should say, is the smaller version, and the 2 is the bigger version. Has like a, I think a 9-centimeter blade, so like this is a 4-inch blade, so you can see it's a big knife, but sort of a Spencer size. Yeah, the SOG Visionary 2, no longer in production since a long time now, and also got this for a good price, I think. And yeah, this is just an old school SOG knife before SOG was bad, and then now I think SOG just has lost a little bit of their spirit because they don't do designs like this anymore. And it's so sad. We don't see recurves anymore. We don't see the good old SOG Bowie knives anymore. And you may say, hey, the SOG Bowie knives are still in production. They're just a little bit overpriced now. No, the SOG Bowie knives that I'm talking about are long gone for a really, really long time. They are no longer in production. Now, and this is out of that time where SOG was really cool. So same deal, Grivex scales, and Arc Lock, so their version of the crossbar lock or Axis lock, hollow ground, VG10 steel blade, Seiki City, Japan made, so, you know, good old Japanese production. I don't think they make knives in Japan anymore, which is pretty sad. Perfectly centered, perfect action after all these years. You must understand, this knife has been sitting on a shelf in a shop for like, I don't know, 10 years. And look at the action, man. Now, I will say this, obviously, this is different to a modern made Benchmade because, you know, machining at that time was just different. The build quality at that time was just different, but that's okay. But, you know, for that long, sitting somewhere without being touched by a human hand, it needed a little bit of breaking in, obviously, but I mean, come on, guys, that's a good action for an old knife. Now, why do I buy knives like this? I think they just have, you know, history to it. So, like I said, good old SOG era. Second, they are perfectly collectible at this point. And third, if I don't want to collect it and if I don't care about history, I have myself a really good user, basically, because this is what this knife was built for. It's just a tool, you know. If you are the kind of guy that arrests people on a police car hood, you know, this is the knife for you. So, yeah, I just really like this. And in a time where everything changes so fast and, you know, everybody brings out a new crazy knife every single day. And I have those crazy knives, you know, I have like the newest and hottest shit, like this Demco custom. But honestly, it's really important to also, you know, remember the past and remember the things that people have made before that. And I do really like that. So yeah, the SOG Visionary 2 is just, I think, a beautiful knife. And yeah, sadly, no recurves anymore. I guess nobody would be able to resharpen recurves now that everything is out of 20 CB Hindura. Oh, sorry. Yeah, so I'm not sure if I will, you know, save this and collect it for whatever reason, or just use it. Like, you know, it's a good user, why shouldn't I use it? The only reason that keeps me from using it right now is I already have the SOG Spec Arc, which I have been using quite a bit. So yeah, this is basically almost the same knife, a little bit different in terms of handle, you know, blade size and everything. I know it's a little bit different, but yeah, just a good old SOG knife. So these are the 3 knives I have been acquiring on my trip, and hopefully you find this video interesting, and maybe we see each other in another video. Goodbye, people.